Hello, everyone, and welcome to my session at the Innovators for Learning Conference. I wish that we could be in person together for this experience, but I know that being safe is what's important this year more so than ever with our current pandemic. But I am absolutely elated to be able to share my session with you all, and I'm thankful that if it can't be in person, that it can at least be virtually. So, welcome to Embracing the Power of Pause, how to use and create effective videos for any class. And I am so excited to share all of this information with you. I know that I have a lot of resources and information, but take away from this session what you want and leave some of it to come back to at a later time. I know that sometimes whenever we go to sessions and conferences, we try to absorb as much as we can, but you will get a link to these slides, and you will also have ways to connect with me if you ever have any questions going forward. So, without further ado, I will introduce myself. I am Stella Pollard, and I am the digital learning coach in Franklin County in Frankfort, Kentucky. I'm a Google certified trainer, and I'm also a Google certified educator levels 1 and 2. I also am a Screencastify Master Screencaster and a Raspberry Pi certified educator. I love my job, and I love working in Frankfort and how close I am to most of you all that are here in Lexington. But I love being part of our team of digital learning coaches, and I love being able to share with teachers and educators everything that I know and everything that I'm passionate about. And I love being able to take away things from sessions like these too. So, our learning target and our focus for this session is I can use and make effective, engaging instructional videos to deliver content. Hashtag power of pause. And if you do look up that hashtag on Twitter, if you're a Twitter person, you will see tons of tweets from me and others who are passionate about that power of pause. Or you could even short it down to pop if you wanted to, but I don't think hashtag pop would have the same meaning, so maybe not. So, if we were in person, this would be a time when we could share about where we're from and what our current position is. So, yeah, I would love to hear from you. If you want to take a second to pause and tweet to me or email me and let me know that you're watching this session, it would be great to hear from you. But if you don't want to do that, that's perfectly fine too. Okay, so let's move into our session. Do you remember when each of these first came out? We have the Epic digital camera, Google itself, just I know now it's kind of like a verb, but the actual website whenever it first rolled out, flip phones, Facebook, YouTube, the first OG iPhone, Instagram, and Snapchat. So just take a second to reflect back. If you have paper and you want to jot them down and make a guess, you're more than welcome to do that. But take a moment just to think about when each of those first came out. Okay. Chances are we were all alive when those came out. I know we're getting close, but the digital camera first came out in 1995. Google, 1998. The flip phone, 2002. Facebook, 2004. YouTube, 2005. The OG iPhone is 07. The Instagram is 2010. And Snapchat was in 2011. Today's seniors, y'all, were born in either 2002 or 2003. Take a moment to reflect on what that means. Almost all of these have been around for the majority or the entirety of their lives. All of these are groundbreaking and earth-shattering, really, things that have happened to the world in their lifetime. So, all of those kind of lead us into video creation and video consumption. Each of those kind of took us to that next level of always being surrounded by content. Now, whether that's good or bad on social media, that's a different story. But we can really embrace that in our classrooms. So, how do you feel about video creation? Ignore this poll everywhere prompt. I forgot to delete that out. But just take a moment to reflect on yourself. What do you feel, or how do you feel about video creation? And if you had to pick a Hamilton moment to match your feelings, which letter would that be? I'm kind of like King George. C. If you were wondering, I also like Adam Burr's Talk Less. So, but you might feel differently. And if you feel like Alexander Hamilton here with his overwhelmed look, or Eliza with her tears, then that's okay. This session's still for you, and we are going to help. All right. So now transition that thought and think about your favorite TV show. It could be TV show, movie, YouTube video, whatever video or content it is. What is your favorite thing? So you probably got something in your head. Now, think about why. Why is that video or movie or whatever, why is that your favorite? For me, it's the Golden Girls. The Golden Girls is something that I am always able to connect to. It always makes me emotional. One minute I could be watching the Golden Girls and crying, and the next minute I could be watching them and laughing. But it also awakens in me some memories from my childhood whenever I was at home with my grandma or my dad. Yes, my dad watched Golden Girls. We would watch this show on TV Land for countless hours, and it just really awakens emotion in me, right? And whenever we show videos in class, sometimes we are not awakening emotion in our students. But don't worry, you do not have to create your own videos. You can use other videos too, and we're going to get into that. But before we do, I also am able to connect to the Golden Girls because I don't know how many times I've said this throughout the pandemic, but picture it, Kentucky 2020, when the Google Meet lag hits instead of Sicily 1912 or 1920. I know you all can relate with that, and it might not be Google Meet, but a different video or hosting hosting web call. There we go. I had a brain lag. All right. So let's pivot into our actual content now. Why? Why is such a heavy question, and it should always be at the heart and the root of everything that we do. Why should we use video for our content? Why? Okay, I've got a story for you. Don't laugh at these pictures. It's okay. I won't be able to see you, so you can laugh if you want to. But vision. Speaking of vision, take a look at these big old glasses here on this child. So this was a sixth grader, probably, let's see, back in the year 2001-ish. And this sixth grader was not very confident. She had a very hard time focusing in all of her classes, and one of her teachers even put her in an unaccelerated track. That's what they called it. Yes, unaccelerated, because she had C's and B's and she struggled to pay attention during class. So as time progressed, I went on to high school and I had to start working really hard, but things just didn't come naturally to me. And now you know that sixth grader was actually myself. But anyway, I went to college and I had this huge dream. I was going to be in ROTC and I was going to go to the JAG Corps. I wanted to be in the Army. As you can tell by my outfit and my attire, I no longer have that outfit, but I had a dream and it didn't work out. But I digress. I struggled my first semester in college at the University of the Cumberlands because I was used to always diving into my work and taking notes in high school. Well, in college, the professors talked way more quickly than my high school teachers did, and they never gave us like slides or guided notes or anything. So I struggled. I tried to write down every single thing that the professor said, and it was so challenging for me. So I knew that I had to put the ball in my court. And the first thing I did was probably not one of the smartest, but I got a credit card. And although, I was able to rack up some debt, you want to know what else I was able to get with that? I got these three things, and they significantly changed the way that I learned, and they helped me so much. I got a voice recorder because back then my iPod did not have a voice recorder on it. It was a nano, and there was no voice recording option because there was no microphone. And then I got the green gummy headphones. You might be able to remember those. If you are a millennial, you probably know what I'm talking about. They were $9.98 at Walmart, and I had to have the lime green. And then I made my biggest purchase, probably one of the biggest purchases I will ever make. It was my MacBook. My very first hard white shell MacBook. So a little bit of nostalgia for you. I really miss that style of MacBook. But anyway, going back. Instead of handwriting my notes, I was able to actually start watching YouTube videos. So I would make like a bulleted list, and then I would go in and watch videos. And then the recorder, of course, helped me to not have to write down everything that the professors were saying. So it took some of that pressure off of me. Now, I know what you're thinking. Stella, you were in college. Yeah, but I was in college when video creation started to roll out at a rapid speed through YouTube and stuff like that. So, would it work for today's students? Let's take a power of pause and let's just think. Would this be significant for the children sitting inside of our classrooms? And you may already know the answer. The answer is yeah. Yes, it would. This is Audrey, and Audrey is almost 7. She's going to be a first grader at one of our Franklin County schools in the 2021-2022 school year. And she is also my daughter. That's why she looks familiar, because I know she looks like me. I'm joking. She's way cuter than me. But she absolutely loves video. Now, not only is Audrey a student, she's also autistic, and video creation helps her to be able to rewatch things as many times as she needs, because she needs that constant reintroduction of things and to reiterate what has been said. YouTube is a significant part of her speech development, but also how she knows all of the 50 states and so many random facts. So, yes, it can, and yes, it will. And I do have a video clip I'll share.
Oh my
gosh! So Audrey says, oh my gosh, yes. All right. So let's look at statistics, because I know Audrey is autistic and I was a college student, and those criteria doesn't really meet every child within our classrooms. But 86% of U.S. viewers say they often use YouTube to learn new things. And that's between the ages of 18 to 54 because FERPA, we know that we cannot go into below 18 to get data. But 86% of 18 through 54, how much do you think that would change if we looked at our even younger generations? 7 in 10 YouTube viewers use the platform for help with a problem they're having within their work, studies, or hobbies. I know I do that. 50% increase in average daily views with video variations of beginner in the title. Now that's from this past year, from March 15th, 2020 through July 5th, 2020. So a month, like 2 months, a month and a half-ish. I don't know. A while. Not a very long while. But how often did we look up YouTube videos in the year 2020 and some in 2021 that was like beginner to Screencastify or beginner to Google Classroom? It skyrocketed. And here are just some more stats for you. YouTube users, third quarter of 2020, you can see how many, like the breakdown of YouTube users. But on the right side, after the black bar to the right, most parents of young children say their child watches YouTube videos on a daily basis. So although we can't collect data on the kids, we can collect data on the parents and what they say that their child is consuming each day. So we don't need to be afraid to take in video and take a shot and bring that into our classrooms. But would you find those statistics surprising? Because I kind of did not. Like some of them I was like, whoa, like the beginner video. But for the most part, I was kind of like, yeah, I expected that. So what about you? So the first thing that you have to do whenever you're thinking about bringing video into your classroom is you got to get out of your mind. You've got to get out of your head. Although it might seem big and challenging at first, if you have courage, you can do it. And you don't need a lot of courage. It can be a mustard seed of a courage if you want, but we can show you and help you on how to get those videos into your classrooms and into your content. So first of all, you need to develop your play. No, it is okay. It is perfectly fine to use pre-made content from reputable sources. Now, if you do this, do make sure to give them credit. Don't crop out their emblems or whatever. But I have listed here for you some different examples of things that you can bring into your classroom for videos and how you can find videos for your students. And I'm going to walk you through some of these, but don't forget, you will be getting the slides at the end of this session, and you can use that to help you get these links. So the first one is KET. If you have been sleeping on exploring the KET website, you are missing out. It is so rich with all of the resources that we can use for our students. So if you go to the PBS website and go up here to subjects, they have resources for everything that you could imagine. And I'm a science girl, so I'm going to go to science, and I'm going to click on the physical science strand. Now I can filter by grade, I can filter by type, I can filter by relevance, but my favorite thing to do is to come up here to where it says standards and look up the specific type of standard that I'm looking for. So if I'm looking for a 7th grade standard, I can do that. So there's that breakdown. But there's videos embedded on here. There's lesson plans. It's so awesome. And I know KET themselves will probably have a session in the IFL conference. So I don't want to deep dive too much, but just know that that is there, and there is some rich content living on there. Now, if they don't have a session and you want to know more, you can play around or feel free to email me or Laura Raganos or any of the other DLCs in Fayette County or whichever district you're from, and they can help you because I know that they are probably just as passionate about KET as I am. The second one is Khan Academy. And usually I know when we talk about Khan Academy, we're talking about math. And if you've never heard of Khan Academy before and you teach math K through 12, then you could totally check this out because there are a ton of resources for you. And it's math, but also like the getting ready for certain grade levels. And there is just so much in there that you can use to help you with those. But there's also science tracks, test preps, praxis if you have any college students that you know are getting ready to take that. There's videos in there about praxis, computing, arts and humanities, reading and language arts, life skills. So I'm going to click on one of the life skills one, and you can see there's the growth mindset, but there's all kinds of videos in here and activities that the students can do in order to learn their content. And that's a bad example. That one doesn't have very many videos on it, but most of them are very video rich, and the videos are really good. Let's go back to my presentation here. Of course, you've got YouTube where you can find anything. If you ever do use YouTube, make sure that you pre-watch the videos to make sure the content is appropriate for the students, because sometimes people take educational videos and they do something weird and they put weird things right in the middle of them. So make sure that you pre-watch those. You have TeacherTube. TeacherTube is like YouTube, but everything on there is screened and safe to use. Some districts do have that blocked though. And then of course you have National Geographic. And I know that Donnie Piercy is probably presenting on National Geo or like social studies type of stuff. But there are all kinds of resources on here for science, social studies, math, all of the content areas. My internet's being a little slow here. So you can look through here and find articles and videos, and you can link those to your slides or whatever it is that you're creating. So that's a lot of information, and I know I rushed through all of those and didn't really explain any of them very well. However, if you need anything, I will be happy to help you with that. Okay. All right. So I want to give you an example of ways that you can take YouTube videos and make them relevant to the student's interest, but also relevant to the content that you're teaching. Because I know sometimes we get up there and we do show Khan Academy videos, which are great at explaining math, but sometimes when we are watching the same type of video over and over and over, it gets mentally exhausting as adults. I know students also can embrace with that. But if we take something that they all know and they all love and we make that be about their language, then I'm all about it. So here's an example, and I'm going to play this short video. All right. So in that video, I always tied that to inertia and types of different energy with kinetic and potential energy. And we talked about how each of the characters and items in there always had the potential energy and when they bring kinetic. And the students would then write their own story. So that kind of just gave them some encouragement to make things be a little bit more relevant to them. So now that we've discussed ways that we can use videos that are created by others, let's explore some other ways that we could create videos. Now, this specific session isn't going to show you how to use any of these tools, but really the idea behind them. However, if you are completely new, do not fret. Each of these icons will have a link to a tutorial on how to use these specific tools. So if you, for instance, click on this one, that's Screencastify, and you will be taken to a video that I've created to show you how to use Screencastify. If you click on this one, it will show you how to use Screencast-O-Matic and so on and so forth. But find one that you feel comfortable with and you would like to use inside of your classrooms. And of course, there's others that's not listed on that page. So I want to take you back to when I first started creating videos. And I was going to be out a day, and you know how it is when you have a sub plan and you're like, well, the sub will not know how to teach what I'm teaching, and I really want to leave my students with all of the resources that they need in order to be successful for that day, which is awesome. Do that. However, one key problem that I had, I made a hyperdoc, and if you don't know what a hyperdoc is, it's kind of like an exploration guide, and I'm sure there's another session on that, but it was an activity for the students to complete. I broke it in the inquiry. I made it completely phenomena based, and I was so proud of it, and I had a student choice board inside of there. However, the video that I created was 9 minutes and 32 seconds long. Now, I know it's kind of ironic that I say that when you all are watching an hour-long Stella Pollard video right now. However, for middle school students, 9 minutes and 32 seconds was completely crazy. When was the last time, this conference aside, that you willingly watched a 10-minute instructional video? It's probably very rare. The reason why is because our attention spans have changed so much over the last few years. So, what do you think happened when the students had to watch that 9 minute and 32 second video? I bet you can guess. I want to show you one of the comments that was left on the assignment from one of my students. Miss Pollard, I'm still confused. And this was one of my 7th graders, and they were still confused with what the video had explained. And although I explained it clearly, I went on and on and on, and I lost my students' train of thought. So something that I didn't do before that video was I didn't make a plan. I didn't script out what I was going to say. I just free-handed the whole video. And that's not necessarily to say that's a bad way to go about things, but whenever it's a huge concept that you're trying to teach, it really helps to make a plan. I'm a paper person sometimes, and sometimes I'm a digital person, so find a method that works for you. On the slides that you get, you're going to have a picture that's going to be linked to the Make a Plan guide from Catlin Tucker. And this is so simple. She has the lesson title and topic, key concepts, bulleted list and keywords, and visuals. You don't have to script out every single word that you're going to say, but it helps the flow be so much smoother if you do have an idea of where you're going with the instructional video. Some more easy tips for video creation is to remember to create that outline. You don't have to speak too fast. If you speak too fast, you will confuse people. It doesn't always have to be perfect. If you make mistakes, that's completely fine. Try to keep it short. 2 to 3 minutes is ideal. Limit distractions. If you have a window beside of you, or if you have something playing in the background or a kid in the background, sometimes those things can be distracted. And I know that sometimes we have no choice but to have those distractions in the background. But if you can, try to limit those. If you have access to an external microphone, it can help your voice to be more clear. It could even be a pair of the headphones with the microphone built into that. But if you don't have one, no big deal. It's completely fine. If you're using a webcam, make sure that you're in a well-lit area. If you are embedding, or if you're making a longer video, you can embed a webcam to the bottom corner to where you would have like your presentation, and then down here at the bottom you could have your face. Sometimes that can be distracting if it's a longer video. That's why I don't have one turned on right now, because I know sometimes whenever we have that, people like to watch the way our mouths move or see what we look like and our facial expressions, and sometimes it just kind of takes away. But don't be afraid to listen to it before sending it out. That has been one of the hardest things for me. I know it. It's really hard to listen to our own voice, but if it helps, with this accent and my braces on, I have to listen to myself a lot, and you kind of do get used to it. After a while, the sting of that kind of goes away. And then finally, last but not least, practice makes perfect. Practice 1 or 2 times to check the quality in video, the quality and sound of your video. You can just do a quick 30 seconds, because I cannot tell you how many times I have started a Screencastify video or another video, and I'm 20 minutes into it because it's a presentation, and all of a sudden I stop it and I go back to listen to it, and I was muted the whole time. Absolute face palm. And if you didn't hear, I did face palm there, because I do that so often. So make sure to do a trial run. If you're sitting too close to a window or a wall or anything like that, your voice can echo. Okay, that was a lot of tips. But now I want to show you some examples. So we have the first one is just to be bold, try new things. And here is what that looks like. So this is just an example of a TikTok that students could talk about weathering and erosion. And you could embed these on a Padlet like I have on the previous slide. And you could have the students comment underneath there, how does this represent weathering and erosion? And then they could ask questions, and they could just engage with that short clip, but it's going to hook them in. And the thing that I like about TikTok is that you are limited to 60-second videos. So you could just put those directly onto your Padlet board. There are tons of others on there. And of course, this is just weathering and erosion. The students can add their comments underneath, etc. All of that good stuff. But you don't have to use Padlet. You could use Google Slides or anything like that. Or you could just embed them wherever you're presenting and just show the videos and have the students discuss. But there's not only just limitations to science, but there's also videos on there for everything. And I will click on one of these just to show you. So you can see that this teacher is showing out how to work a problem. And of course, if this was the student's first time seeing this, you would use a slower video. But if the students have been exposed to that content and you're just doing a quick little review, then something like that is very powerful. So the students could just see. They could also check their work really quickly. We got a language arts example here, or grammar example, and the teacher is singing. She's very engaging. Got some history examples. And if TikTok is out of your realm of comfort, you could also use the Instagram TV, and it does the same thing. Anything that you can use to make a short video. The thing that I like about Instagram and TikTok is that you can embed music in the background. Just make sure that it's clean. But there's tons of great information on there just waiting for you to explore and share with your students. All right. So sometimes we don't have to talk at all in our videos. And this right here is an example of how you can create a GIF or a GIF, if you prefer to say it like that. But you can create just one of those little videos that will play and loop. So, of course, that was a science example, but I used that to show my students how mitosis goes through its process of cell division. And you could do the same thing with math, with like working out a fraction or working out an equation. You can make a flip book. You can do anything. And there is a link right here that will walk you through how I did that with Screencastify. If you have never used Screencastify before, it's super simple and it's completely free to use that. I'm sure that others have ways to make GIFs too, but Screencastify just is my preference. Here's an example of a GIF. The person just made slides and they are showing how they are solving this equation. It's a little slower, but I think this one was made by Maths with Mum. So you can also make your own GIFs on Giphy.com. And for example, Wonder is one of my favorite movies. I love it, and I love this part of the movie where the science teacher is showing refraction. So before she throws or pours the water in there, it says now, and then after she pours the water in, it says when. And I made that because it wasn't there yet. You could do the same thing. You can make any video a GIF, and the website that I use for that is called Giphy. And if you've never been to Giphy before, it's Giphy.com. And just like with TikTok, there are some things on here that are not appropriate for children's eyes, so do not let them go. But you can scroll through here and you can find different GIFs to represent different content areas. So I might want to look up weathering. You can see it's got lots of May the 4th be with you stuff. But yeah, I'm just going to look up weathering. And of course, it brings up weather. But let's say, for example, I want to use this GIF. I just like it. I can click copy link and copy that GIF link. So I'm just pressing the copy. And I can go to Google Slides or wherever it is that I want to embed it. So let me just open up a slide. And I want to go to the insert button. And that does bring us to the end of today's session. If you have any questions or ever need anything, please reach out to me. You can get me by my email, stella.pollard@franklin.kyschools.us, or on Twitter at Stella_Pollard, and I will be very, very happy to help. I have enjoyed talking to you all. I wish that we were in person, but if you need anything, know that I will always be here. Thank you.